ɛna me hwɛ monim na me ka kyɛ mo sɛ nana Agradaa obia no a ɔde ne sebeka papa ya obɛkɔ free na me ka kyerɛ wo sɛ bibi bɛyɛ dɛ
ebesi
odi agro mama yɛ de anko fa hyɛ papa insa o baby a wɔda sese Agradaa be pie ebe yi no ba je obepa papa no cho just man penifuo ebe kotu papa pa no cho Agradaa be 15 years no but so man penifuo be pa no cho obeka one word market Agradaa only 15 years for prison. I came to tell you, God will have mercy on her until she apologized to the old man.
Ghana man penny, Nanado Danko Kufa, we didn't know ya. Your vice and so Baumia, on us we didn't know ya. IGP, Ora Dampare, on us we didn't know ya. And yet he said 2 to 2, and he told to 2 internal. Now say, yeah, one saw them as will be a person who dear caution, and no can say the same crowphobia at 2 Eba. I feel me, Honoma. Yes, order from above, say, young famine sales. Maybe I order the free no. Unto me now, yeah, pan, I believe some crowphobia say, I call my maybe fee, a gently a call my mini fee. Why did I have for 4 ben or mobile mini fee, and some ben no money back? Or he been a friend, say, Membra, yes, I said, so now my mini yamatum did or be over Casso Bempah the 2 and then my call baby fee so coconut crack, and for mobile fee, the friend me, sir, Omuni Mamena Casa, Mamena Giatum say, obey child or yeno, Tina and she at Nasumra. Oh, my no more call home pono, a yahim from Crawford, a family who sent me home here and Nancy so. And the Omo at the cells on the back home, on this chino, and a senia, a coso, mini pedium limihono, to an upon a catching police for the set. BB yes of now and I say Ombe made me call police hospital. So on my check me no say I'm a drip and only drip see me so. I say on my I said for best 7 Omo editu Ewura hospital ho baby me wanna drip see me so. Yeah, the drip see me so. Almost say order from above. Say yamfa handcuff a woman sa. Abra drip see me so. And the handcuff a bomb inside the ball and pen bed. So they put
more comment from Lucky Black Media. I was Papa Owusu Bempah and Mami Agradaa and Sensibia everybody here be kai simre bi atwam na aye Mami Agradaa wode aye case koto Papa Owusu Bempah so say wodi tu abenefie ne dom aba honoma ene atwetwitu anka omoba bebo no aye Mami Agradaa tu ekuna enam so ema aye president na adodanko akufuado those days no aye president and afenso so ne vice Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia IGP aye Dampare denta wana na ete so wo mutimi bo moden ema ye kofa aye Papa Owusu Bempah abusia sansem we sei eba aye no wonim se sansem we motwetwe ya ma asem no krampo ekokoto a papa idi ya wo krampo se impo emra na woda aye police cells na ya reache ne denden de omode ko police aye hospital ni nyina drips sini so na still aye soja for ne police for boy wura hospital wo no abomodin e de handcuff akwa kogu ni sa enya asam ketwa e wo honom eno ana papa ne ka se wadi yaw power na adodanko akufuado afi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na aye IGP those days America the former IGP aye Dampare eho pa wakasa na busia just recently ya papa birthday awodi na aye osofo sunshine ebe ya sorry e de ma Papa Owusu Bempah na wakasem bi egwom se Agradaa betime pia bonti a agese wakwa akopa Papa Owusu Bempah achew ene or the prison dey so yin panifo pa no mukuksu ensre Papa Owusu Bempah se onfa boni bia waye bia emfa nche no ansa na Agradaa betime abantesa na 15 years no obetwa ne tetetetete ewo eye ende de fie hono ma woda no na busia eno mu na nkofo bebre busa se dey pa na eye Papa Owusu Bempah ana Agradaa de aye Papa Owusu Bempah busia ye kwa kotie aye Papa Owusu Bempah ensem bia woka ye wa Agradaa de bia wode ye no se atwetu e woni so enam so ema aye those days Dampare ano ye IGP ene na adoda nkwa akufo adomo ebo modern kokofa eye papai ekokoto mu abusua eno nkofo bebre kasa ne eso asotwe ene eso nomia na eye maame Agradaa enya no abusua ene nsam de papai eka bi pa na o kasa no hwe nanim a na tu se papa no wodi ya wampa ewonimu kame ho ne nkwaje nsam no nchemu mla sisi Abuja baby a wo hwe me bia wo haw ne amane kodan na bia da eda wo so bia no bomode se onimi bedi nkomo ye de samna nwanwaso bi aba e fre ne se eye sika kokko na gold samna wo haw bia da eda wo so bia wo hia sa samna we se bi afi wo ye bema wo hwe me wo bema sam wo fo wo bema ye ketwa rabaji bula matali edro bi na wo bema enye kesi watimi abo adwuma nso ache ewo empem ye de akwankyere bi aba abuzuano ye hwehwe wo hyebrem a ye fre ne se mpelifo akwankyere ana se wo betima fre back to sender onipa bi ha onipa bi tata wato bet e wo ho se wo se ne tibi obeku bomode so be fa numbers ne go screen ase na woni mi akasa me hwehwe wo hyebre mu hwi a be bomode se me kire wo ne wo beye
clearly moso amowo dem ha
those of you seated in this auditorium as well,
I
would want you to pay attention and listen very carefully.
Answer last week.
Now last week I mentioned during my preaching that I was really offended.
Now me can professor Ghana man penny. And
I said it without mincing words that I was so much offended in the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Me can be him say your vice so Vice President.
I also mentioned that I was so much offended in the Vice President of Ghana.
Me can be him say IGP.
I mentioned that I was so much offended in the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ekufu Dampare. Now, why did I make mention of all these? Why? Now, it is the why I am going to answer this afternoon. If you recall, we were having church service, and during the church service we had gunshots around the premises of the church. And you all recall that there were some people running from the streets into the premises of the church. And because of the gunshots and what was happening, we were all concerned. We wanted to know what was happening outside the walls of the church. So it was during church service. I had not closed. So because of the gunshots, I walked out of the door of the church. And I was asking the security men what was happening outside. And some people mentioned that the gunshots were coming toward this direction. Why? So those people that came in mentioned to me that there are some people with guns that had seized Reverend Nana Krobia. They had whisked him away. Now they also said that the people who caught Reverend Nana Krobia and ran away with him, they first of all hit his car, and his car hit a pole, and the pole fell, and they are not very sure what had happened. And they were beating him and hitting him with the guns they had, and they put him into the car and they drove off. Now another man of God called Reverend Bechi, some of the guys had chased him away and he was running in another direction, and the guys were following him. Now I am the general overseer in this church.
Na me ya sorry. Na nkrofo di tuo aba abechime sofo e de na sheka mu ko.
So you can imagine that I heard a news that some unknown people have come to whisk away one of my pastors, and they've gone to an unknown place. I couldn't continue with service. So I handed over to some the pastors, and I told them to continue with service because I wanted to follow up to see how the matter was going to turn.
In fact, me drew baby a bar for no.
Now, when I got to the place where the bar, the pub is,
street kitwe bi da ho. And I'm who said
now I noticed that there were a lot of people on the streets, and it was like a pandemonium had occurred. And so I inquired what happened. And I also asked the people gathered there, where is Pastor Krobia and Pastor Bechi?
Papa and Krofobi tuo abeti tuo aso sofo Krobia mu de na sheka mu e de ne ko.
Now the response they gave me was that there were some unidentified people who had caught Reverend Krobia, put him in a car, and they were the ones who were shooting the guns, and they took him away somewhere, they don't know.
In fact,
I was really frightened because I didn't know what was happening.
Police car bi and police patrol team car
Now later on they told me that there was another patrol car of the police that came to rescue Reverend Krobia and took him away. Now that made me a bit comfortable. So I asked, where is Reverend Bechi? They told me he managed to run and seek refuge in somebody else's house.
And they
told me that some of the people in the group that attacked Reverend Krobia, we managed to catch some of them, and these are the ones we have caught. So they said that some of the people that were chasing Reverend Krobia and Reverend Bechi, these people were one or are part of the group. So it was like there was serious exchange of words.
And I may catch that police.
So I said to the people on the streets that, you know what, let's put them in the vehicle and let's take them to the police station to make a report. There were about 4 people, if I can remember. So we made them to sit in some of the cars of the pastors, and we drove straight to the police station.
Now on
our way to the police station, Reverend Krobia called me and said to me, Papa, if you don't come now, I will die. And because the people are killing me.
And I'm saying, now wait.
And I asked him, where are you?
I said, Papa, my bomb, Eddie trouble bombing thing. Some emoji to me. I must say, oh, my down to my police station.
So he said to me that the people beat me up and they hit my ribs with the guns, and I am bleeding. And so I am currently at the Danceman police station.
And I miss me catch us for Krobia Saudi and Yabotre, Nankophone cry, yes, we are chibinum. So
I said to Reverend Krobia, you know, exercise patience. We managed, or the people managed to catch some of the group that attacked you, and we are bringing them to the police station to make a case against them.
In fact, you do police station me who suffer Krobia. Now
when we arrived at the police station, the Pastor Krobia I knew was not the same person standing at the police station. Now by the grace of God, we were able to uncover where Reverend Bechi was hiding.
ana mibusa prosifo ne say hwannom na de me sofi ba ha I dance man police station.
So I began to ask the policemen, who are those that brought my pastor to the station?
Now they told me the handcuff agu nipa krofo be kidnap no abono masade handcuff agu nisa and nisa gu na chi a oblidi.
And I asked them that, why have you handcuffed someone that had been kidnapped and had been beaten by unknown people, and he is bleeding and he is still in handcuffs?
And I'm saying me pamocho commander no ha no way.
So I inquired, where is the commander of the station?
And almost we pie kakra.
And they told me he had stepped out.
And I'm saying na hwannom pa na de me sofi ba.
So I further inquired, who were those that brought this pastor to the station?
Almost say, oh, I mean nipa.
They said, man of God.
Ya wa na petrol team fo bi. Edna ba no mo de ne ba na handcuff gu nisa. Patrol team.
Now they said to me, the man of God, he was brought here by a police patrol team, and he came here in handcuffs.
And I'm saying, police for and then baha.
So I wondered, those that brought him here, were they police people?
And I'm saying, Papa,
so they also said to me that we were here when the police patrol team brought him here.
And I'm saying, so
I said to them that the group that attacked him and kidnapped him, the people managed to catch a few of them, and so we have brought them here to the police station. And so the policemen received the people that we had taken to the police station and put them behind the counter.
And a patrol team for nearby.
Now later on, the patrol team returned to the station. And I asked them, what's the matter? And they said their boss sent them. Now later on, the boss himself came.
And I said, Papa Police.
And I asked him, Mr. Police, what's the matter?
And he told
me, man of God, just relax.
Regional.
Let's go to the regional police headquarters. And when we go there, we are going to settle everything there.
And I'm saying, and
I told him that then please uncuff him, remove the handcuffs, because the young man is bleeding. When he speaks, there is blood in his mouth, and there are cuffs on him, and his hands were behind him.
And I'm saying, na a handful and omobeche me software ma bono aye ni say ne dienti and I'm software be di mu nsem handcuff gunisa aden crofo na omo bae no and obi handcuff gunisa na say hwanom.
So I further asked that, who were those that attacked the man of God, and how did the man of God come to the custody of the police patrol team, and how did all this happen? Now I wanted to find out and ascertain what really transpired within the period.
Asema police no beka sheme ane say nyaminipa odi ayenko regionals ne duru hon ma ebemu bibia.
Now repeatedly what the policeman said to me was that, man of God, let's go to the regional police headquarters. When we get there, we are going to settle everything and we'll let you know everything.
Nyamiadom me frère Mr. Charles Owusu.
Now
Reverend Charles Owusu.
I called Reverend Charles Owusu.
Uncle Fee munyina eba hobi.
And I called Uncle Fee. So they all came to the police station. And so we all drove to the regional police headquarters.
Nafe adekudie ntia ye betu tutuo wa ha bra me ya asore. Eni die ntia ya beche me sofo. Ya bone de hankofa gu no nsa. Me bese mete na me hunu krofo krom bedi sa adwuma no.
Because I really wanted to know why some people came to the neighborhood of the church to shoot guns, and why they had arrested my pastor and beaten him up and they had handcuffed him. I really wanted to know why that happened.
I feel almost say me sofno Krobia no on show the statement.
So when we got there, they told Reverend Krobia to write his statement.
Na kasa ni nyamu no kwasiada anopa ya ba sorry ana sofo Krobia ene sofo bechi e ka kire me sa papa ya na manekrofo di moto ni cars di echi.
Now on that Sunday in the morning, Reverend Krobia and Reverend Bechi informed me that they had noticed some people tracking them with motors and vehicles, and they had become a bit. And there were times that a vehicle could track them from town till the time they arrived at their doorstep at home.
Police station, Bempah, either Dansuman police station, and now say Odoko police station. Namunko case says someone say na encrophobia.
So immediately they informed me that morning. I said to them that it is wise and necessary to report what you have noticed at the nearest police station. So I told them to either go to the Odoko police station or go to the Dansuman police station and report to the police what they had noticed.
Osofo Bechi Kono and a car, a pam woman. Our money baby a car free. Our money I am share Edumoka copy electric pole, a man in
Now, so it was when they were going to the police station to make a report that a vehicle unknown to them started chasing them hotly, and so he lost control and he hit the vehicle against a pole, and the pole broke down. So out of fear, they opened the doors of the vehicle to run away and escape, and they had people shooting guns. The people shooting, making gunshots.
And so
as for Reverend Krobia, he fell down and fell into a gutter.
And in fact, and
that was how he managed. That was how they managed to catch him. And they really beat him up. And Reverend Krobia didn't know the people that had caught him, and Reverend Bechi also didn't know them. Whether they were armed robbers, whether they were assailants, there were people that had been contract killers. Nobody knew who they were.
Our original.
So it was at the regional police station that Reverend Krobia was asked to write a statement.
So I am on pa.
So I was So I was thinking that after he had written a statement, or after writing a statement, they would grant him some police inquiry bail, so that he will go home. Even if he has committed an offense, he will go home to treat himself, or he will go home and report at the police station at another time.
Because I
was in haste. I wanted to take him to the hospital because he was really injured.
Now a police order from above. Statement.
Now whilst I was waiting, there were some policemen that came to me and they told me that by an order from above, I am supposed to also write a statement. And I asked them, what statement should I write? Is it what happened and what I witnessed with my eyes?
In fact, lawyer
at that time I was personally present. I was personally present at the police station. And so together we wrote the statement of what they required us to write.
Now, in fact, because
now I was surprised because I didn't really understand what was happening.
Yes, order from above say cells.
Now again, some policemen came to the place the man of God was writing the statement and said that by an order from above, the prophet of God should be held in police custody.
Striking force.
And that he must be taken to the police striking force unit. The cells. So Reverend Owusu then intervened.
And he
started making certain calls.
Chief of staff.
So I also called the chief of staff. And I told her everything that had happened.
And also, Jubilee House.
And she told me to relax because she has sent a military personnel at the Jubilee House to come over where we were
na ometie de ekoso
and to
na
listen
omeka nkyere
to whatever has happened, to inform her of what had happened.
So Janine so frɛ me sɛ chief of staff sɛ ɔmrante ɔnam
Now
kwa so
that
ba
military personnel also called me and told me that he had been sent by the chief of staff and he was on his way to the police station.
yɛtwɛn obi a ma
We waited for a long time and nobody came.
afei mefrɛ ɔpani bi a menim na obi amfa ne phone.
Now I called everyone I knew and I could call. Nobody answered the call.
Enti ɔsɔfo Charles kora de ɔfrɛ ɔpani paa bi.
So Reverend Charles called another big man.
ɔpani paa ne sɛ Charles o de tobo na me amedi medin ama yɛgyae papa
Now,
ɛyɛ sɔfo Owusu Bempah.
now what the man said to him is that, Reverend Charles, just relax. I am going to use my influence to settle this matter.
afei ɛwɔ maa na ɔpani no asan afrɛ
Now from time to time the man kept calling.
na waka kyerɛ ɔsɔfo Charles sɛ asɛm no boro no so
The man called and he said, this matter that is happening is above me.
na baabi a ɔda ne firi no ɔntumi nya ho hwee bi.
Now where the order or the orders came from, he cannot do anything about it.
ɛdeɛ paa na meyɛɛyɛ
Now what did I do?
charge bɛɛ paa ne yɛde bɔ me
What charge was preferred against me?
na asɛm bi wɔ hɔ na saa asɛm no one day mɛka ne dɛm ha
Now there is something which I would talk about one day.
I believe sɛ nkurɔfoɔ pii te sɛ yɛkɔɔ maame bi fie
Now there are some people that heard that we went to a certain woman's house.
asɛm na ɔkɔɔ tete mi mpɛ sɛ hɔ
Now
mɛkɔ hɔ
because the matter is in court, I don't want to talk about
ɛdeɛ
it.
nti ne yɛkɔɔ maame ne fie
Why did we go to the woman's house?
ahemfofoɔ bɛɛ na ɔmo baa me fie
So which chiefs visited me in my house?
ɛnsɛm bɛɛ na ɔmo ne me bɛkaeɛ
And what did they say to me when they came?
ɔhene bɛɛ na ɛfrɛ me sɛ memmra ne yɛnsiesie asɛm no
So
na maame no nya amatam didie
which chief called me and told me to come so that they settle any scores which may be?
obi a ɔbɛka so Owusu Bempah de tuo ɛne maa kɔwɔ baa bi fie so okoku na ɛnyɛ nokorɛ
Now anybody who will say that Prophet Owusu Bempah took guns with him to go to a certain woman's house to go and shoot her,
ahemfoɔ mu baa me fie emu baako ɛna ɛfrɛ me na sɔfo a mokora te me nkyɛn sɛ ɔmo ne maame no kasa maame no agye atom sɛ ɔbɛgya deɛ ɔyɛ no nti yɛn nyinaa yɛnhyia na asomdwie mmra ɔmo a yɛ ne ɔmo kɔɔ hɔ mpo no ɛyɛ ahemfo no nkurɔfoɔ.
Now, so one of the chiefs that visited my house called me and said that they have spoken with the woman, and the woman had agreed to let
family go to me.
So now, back to order from above. There was an order from above that I should be held behind cells.
In fact, ɔsɔfo Charles Owusu ɔbɔ ne ho mmɔden paa.
Now, Reverend Charles also did everything in his might.
afei na akɔduru point bi sɛ ɛne ɛsa deɛ mfa me nkɔ cantonment
Now,
cells.
so then it got to a point that instead of taking the man of God to the police striking force cells, they should rather take him to the cantonment police station.
ɛdeɛn na mayɛ
What was his offense?
ɔmo sɛ mema ɔda meme church members sɛ momoa polisifoɔ ma ba ha ɛna meme church members ɛyɛ mo no maboa polisifoɔ apirapira wɔn.
Now his offense
police
was
ni bɛɛ na ɔde police ataadeɛ ana police ni bɛɛ na ba ha.
now his offense was that he had instructed the members of his church to beat up policemen that came to the premises of the church to cause an arrest. But on that day, there was no policeman that came to the premises of the church, and there was no person dressed in police attire that entered the compound of the church.
Ibi mi kɔ baabi kura na dede ne kɔ so atututuo no kɔ so no mɛ hu police ni bi a wɔ hɔ.
Now, when I even went to the place where the scene occurred, there was no person, no policeman at the scene.
nti a police fɔ bɛ asɛm na ɔmo ka no.
So which policemen were they talking about?
nti mi nti aseɛ
I did not really understand.
mi nuanom yɛde ma kɔto cells.
And so I was taken to the cantonment police station.
mefrɛ obiara fɔ panin bi a minim ni bi a
I
mefrɛ
called everyone I knew. Nobody answered the call.
mefrɛ na mi nya ɔpanin baako.
Now, as I was trying, I got someone.
ɛna mi sɛ ɔpanin mi yɛ asɔre.
And I said to the person that I was having a church service.
nkurɔfoɔ bi a yɛ nim ɔmo aba bɛ kidnap ma sɔfo no baako.
And some unknown
ɛpa mi
people,
sɔfo baako soso.
had kidnapped one of my pastors, and they had chased another to a place where he took cover.
Media chira. Me a minimum hoshinam nim dia kosono. Yasi am famen koto cells.
Now I followed the matter without knowing what had happened, but it had been ordered that I should be put into cells.
So
that man said to me,
police penny dampare,
that the Inspector General of Police
and the Vice President
and the Vice President,
I was so to be a fan of Victor Kusibuati
or were in the house of another man of God called Victor Kusibuati.
Yes, of Victor Kusibuati, the birthday.
And it was the birthday party of Reverend Victor Kusibuati, so they were all there.
Nenipo betimi ama dampare jame. Victor Kusibuati nepe.
Now, the person said to me that the only person that could make an intervention and could speak with the Inspector General of Police to release me to go home was that man of God alone.
Now no person obey me Vice President Akasa. I'm on the dampare akasa mo maja.
And again, that man of God alone is the only person who could speak with the Vice President for them to release me to go home. So the person suggested to me to call Reverend Victor Kusibuati. So it was this man that sent me there. So the person suggested to me to call Reverend Victor Kusibuati. So it was this man that sent me the phone number of Reverend Victor Kusibuati.
Reverend Victor Kusibuati more than 10-15 times.
I called Reverend Victor Kusibuati more than 10 to 15 times. He did not answer his call.
I was say you do free cantaback and you do courses until you are tired na enka opant yem fam kosho.
Now the men of God, the policeman, while I was sitting behind the counter, came to me and said that, man of God, it is time for you to go into the cells, and so you must remove your dress, be naked, leaving your pants, and walk into the cells.
And I make a chance say me ya sorry no pay.
I told them that I had church service today.
Me ho atade amede ya sorry.
And what I'm wearing are the clothes that I wore for church service. And so I cannot remove my clothing.
Make us say so and a mass opposite and a man in Nigeria no more supposed to Bempah and a man no more going in social supposed to Bempah. Almost as a man Romatadena, they will deal with me.
Now there was a female cell and a male cell, and I was standing very close to where the female cell was, and these policemen told me that if I do not voluntarily remove my clothing, they would force the removal of my clothing. So they said, the man of God, you are delaying. Be fast. So in fact, they held me and they wanted to remove my clothes. So I asked them, what have I done?
Police penny or your bar or catch him say no. Or software Yaminipa.
Now the police officer in charge said to the policeman that, you know what, you are dealing with a man of God. There was a lady. She said to them, you are dealing with a man of God. Allow him to go to the cell with his dress on.
I want to miss me policeman and say, Mommy, policeman. So I
asked that woman in charge of the station, why are you going to put me into cells? What have I done?
MPP from Penny for Nobacco, John Buadu, Tehona John Buadu Baho.
So it was at that time we had someone had already called Mr. John Buadu. So it was at that time that Mr. John Buadu came to the police station. When he came, I narrated the whole story to him. He stared intently at my face and said, really? Is that what really happened?
And on the Safa Mechi, Namini Party and Yashi.
So he patted me on the back. He patted me on the back and he said to me, man of God, don't worry. Tomorrow I will come here and we will solve the whole issue. So then they pushed me into the cells. Now I was in utter shock. I was seeking in my mind, searching in my mind to know what I had done wrong, why they were treating me in that manner.
Confused.
So I was confused. So I sat down. At that time I had not eaten. And I didn't know what was happening.
I
was in shock. Now I noticed that my breath was not normal.
Condition and a senior air coso mini pedium hono to an catch a police for say BB yes of.
Now one of the cell inmates noticed that I was not okay, so he called the attention of the police officers on duty and said to them that there is something wrong with the man of God.
And I made me call police hospital.
So later on they came for me and took me to the police hospital. So when I got there, it was necessary that they administered drip on me. So in fact they administered a drip on me.
I best 7 na omo edituo awura hospital baby me wanna drip so
while I was still in the hospital at the hospital ward, there were about 7 armed policemen that came to the ward and said that they had been instructed to handcuff me.
My confused.
I was shocked. I didn't know what was happening. So they had administered a drip on me.
Almost order from above. Say handcuff a woman.
So they came and they said, order from above. By an order from above, they must handcuff me while I was in the hospital. At that time, they had administered drip on me.
Yeah, the handcuff. Bed.
So they put the handcuff on my hands and cuffed the hospital bed. See, they cuffed my hand against the hospital bed.
Monday, and court.
Now,
because you're Sunday, no.
Now, after the arrest on Sunday, on Monday, I was taken to court.
And almost to cells.
Now,
for 1 week. Sorry, 2 weeks.
By an order, when we went to court, the court remanded me at least for about a week.
Me da say so no na me ho twetwe me me ho mi ensi so no e na ma rush me call hospital.
It was after the court had ordered that I should be remanded. That was when I felt I was not feeling well, so they took me to the hospital.
Now drips me so nya sa the handcuff as am bomb is am bomb.
So just imagine that I am not in good health, yet my hand had been cuffed against a hospital bed while drip had been administered on me. I don't understand.
Police for ne buy almost order from above. Drip no cry free so no matter how the back of cells.
Now the policemen came and they said to me that by an order from above, they have been instructed to remove the drip and take me back to the cells.
Doctors and nurses no. So many police for the press said there be nipa drips in so yentimi yes. Police for the force says nurse and 2 drip no ma be.
Now the policemen insisted that if the doctor or the nurses did not remove the drip themselves, then they would remove the drip.
I cannot tell you much about our father, but there's something about Papa's house, his mother's house, that this gift in him was not just transferred to him by another man. He was born with it. Mama, you're the one. Moya bibia, moya careful, mama. Auntie, moya careful. Oh, sister, papa, oyo den, oyo ba, oh sister no wahi. Oni, mama, bra, mama, mommy, oni mo Holland, bra, babijina. Aha, we, mommy, we never can munu training actually. Mama, oh mommy, our wo once and who wecha, not to say. Now don't be one so. Okay.
Yeah, Mekai.
Even though that time na sorry, but not be mama so. Okay.
No crap.
Mo nana ba.
Ah, me nana ba.
Ah, okay.
Woman na team Methodist e wo dwaben.
Thank you. Omo na ide.
A team Methodist.
Mama uni mo Holland.
Pacho.
Ohana wo.
Pacho.
Yeah, papa no oni. I am my country. The angel that is working with this man is like a wrestler. Hey, what would that? What would that? Yeah. Nano mobile me ho. Oh, ebe da nyame asa. After you I can remember your face. Okay. Oni eja, obenyi bra, ye nim komo. Ena me hwe mo nim na me ka che mo se. Nana Agradaa eni sa asofo no omo se den. Ena uka de na uka kire no. Wo se sa asemi de e me ne papa asem.
Bacha.
Ena me ka kire wo se. Obia no ode ne se beka papa ya obekọ free. Okay.
Bacha.
Ena me ka kire wo se bibi be ye den.
ABC.
Esi na se ensi. Diagro. Mama, you're the uncle for Chef Papa inside. Yeah. Oh, baby, what does it say? Agradaa be pie. You know. But you Bempah papa no chop. Just man penifuo. Ebe kutupa paper no chop. Agradaa be 15 years no. But some man penny for a punisher or better one word. Market Agradaa only 15 years for prison. I came to tell you, God will have mercy on her. But until she apologized to the old man. One word. Yeah!